Here we have John in Sweden. Pronouns are he, him, wants to talk to us about coming out to family. So welcome, John.
Hi, guys. Hi, Matt. Hi, AP. How you doing?
Good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. Matt, just want to say it's a super awesome pleasure to be talking to you. I'm a huge fan, and I've been watching you for a long time. I called 2 weeks back, actually. I was like the favorite caller of Shannon. And I just want to get right into it, actually. I'd like to ask you, and this is like mostly directed to AP also, since he's an ex-Muslim. Since he's an ex-Muslim, and I am currently a Muslim. Just wanted to ask him and you, how did you basically come out to friends and family and just, hit them with this fact that you just no longer believe? Because I'll just tell you from my point of view, from my case, is that every time I talk about it, we have huge fights at the dinner table. They're super disappointed. They threaten to cut me out of the family, of the inheritance. And it hurts, it hurts me a lot. And I want to know what you guys think.
Well, I don't understand one thing. You said you are a Muslim. Isn't that what you just said?
Yes, I am. I am a Muslim, but it's basically how Richard Dawkins said in his book of the God Delusion, how he's a 6.9 out of 7 confidence that there is no God. I am basically that 0.1.
Okay, so
you get me?
I'm just a little bit confused. When you say I'm a Muslim, that kind of tells me or implies that you believe in Islam, that you believe in the Islamic religion and its truth claims about the Quran and a deity and Muhammad as a prophet and all that. But on the other hand, you ask about coming out as an atheist and arguing, with your family and friends and how that could be done, and you say you would do that. So what I don't understand is, do you believe in the Islamic religion and its claims, or do you not believe, but you just identify as a Muslim for different reasons?
Okay, AP, to cut it basically short, I'm on the way on becoming an atheist. And I'm just thinking, and it's just very hard for me to utter these words out that I am an atheist. It's very difficult for me. So
I understand.
I'm sure you understand.
I do. I mean, it really, it's hard to say. It's hard to give advice from my perspective and from my position. I know of many Muslims or of many ex-Muslims who have a very tough time and who experienced extremely terrible things, like people who had to leave the country because their families or relatives or former friends or others were threatening their lives in serious ways, or because they are persecuted and all that. I know, on the other hand, others who leave Islam and want to tell their family members and others, but their only fear is just that they will be disowned and that people will no longer talk to them. Now, I'm in a position where I'm an ex-Muslim. I told my parents and others. What it led to is not that my life is necessarily directly in danger just for leaving Islam, but that people that I knew from my childhood, my family and relatives, cut ties with me and now have a very bad relationship with me. So I'm not exactly sure in what position you are in and what the consequences of leaving and announcing that would be for you. So it's hard in my position to give you advice. What I normally say is, if you have the means to be self-sufficient, to look out for your own needs, to work, to make money, and to do something with your life, and you think, just damaging your relationship won't hurt you that much, I would suggest just doing that, just saying, hey, guys, I simply do not believe anymore because of these and these and these reasons. But if there's more at stake, I would just see, this is the thing. I just don't really know what to say. But
I'm curious because you talked about getting into arguments about this stuff. So what's happening And I'm mostly staying out of it because I'm neither a Muslim nor an ex-Muslim. But I have a number of ex-Muslim friends, and I can't imagine any of them having arguments like at the dinner table about Islam, and it just not turning into something like how could it be that they don't know that you are at a minimum having serious doubts?
Matt, it's not about the Quran or Islam in general. It's about God. This is what I'm saying. So I do not believe in, prophets and miracles and all that crap. It's just the thing about God in general. And it keeps going through my head, and like there's not the slightest shred of evidence that a God does exist. But at the same time, I've been conditioned when I was a child to believe. So it's like a virus in my software, which I cannot get rid of.
What is the problem and what are you hoping for exactly? Sorry for interrupting, but do you need to convince yourself that you are right? Do you need to convince your family that you are right, or does that not matter and you just want to openly embrace your atheism and move on?
Actually, AP and Matt, I would like to ask you for a favor, and the favor is, can you please convince me how to take this step, and how do I go around it? What would be your best advice?
Which step exactly? Around what exactly?
Letting go of a creator, God, Allah, Jesus, Yahweh, whatever you want to call it.
Matt, what do you say?
Well, my thing is, you're either convinced there's a God or there's not. And if you're not convinced, then there's nothing to let go of. You've already done it. What you're hanging on to at that point is not your belief in a God, but you're trying to find a way to not have to face the inevitable consequences of acknowledging that. Because, like when I stopped believing in a God, there's no choice involved. There's no decision involved. It just became, hey, previously I was convinced and now I'm not convinced. And as soon as I'm not convinced, it would be absurd for me to ask, gosh, how do I stop believing in God? Because at that point, I already have. And instead, we're talking about something else. So if your position is you don't believe in a God, then my answer is you're done. Now your real question is, how do I go on with the rest of my life and interact given this new position that I have?
Okay, I see. So I just wanted to add to that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to add to that one thing. So is there a problem in your view of living my life, believing that there might be a chance that there is a creator, and at the same time believing in what you guys believe in, which is there's no such thing as absolute morality, evolution is a fact, being skeptic, being a humanist, helping others in need.
Let me tell you how I did it. I think I can give myself as an example here. I was a very devout Muslim. I believed in it very much. I was completely convinced that Islam is the truth, and I actually loved it at that time that I believed in it. When I stopped believing in Islam, it wasn't as Matt said. It wasn't like it was not something that I had to had to really acknowledge. It was it just happens in my head. I can no longer believe that Islam is true, but that was the first step. It took me a while to then come to, okay, there is no God. Once I realized that Islam is not true, I thought to myself, hey, I did my best. I did everything I can. I know Islam really brutally indoctrinates me and tells me that if I simply make this mistake and don't believe in him, then I will be brutally tortured in hell and all that. But I thought, hey, if there is really a God, and according to the scripture, he gave me this brain and this mind, and he wants me to think, then he will know for sure that I did my best to follow the truth and to find out whether he is real or not. With that, I accepted that and internalized that and moved on. And then slowly, facing the realities, allowing myself to question and letting go of God completely came later on with time. That's what I did. But every person works differently.
You say that, and I agree with you that for every person it works differently. But here I am coming from a background of Southern Baptist, fundamentalist, etc., and you're coming from a background of Islam, and what you just described is fundamentally identical to what my process was of looking at this. Now, I don't know if that how that helps John, but I would say, John, that if you're at the point where you are in fact not convinced that a God exists, then the new question isn't how do I give up believing in God? It's more along the lines of how do I give up acting as if I believed in that God? It's like, how do I give up engaging in religious services or the religious language around, my friends and family, etc. That's going to be a different question, because for me, it was pretty straightforward and easy. It was, I'm just going to live my life as me. But the consequences for me being an atheist in, modern United States aren't the same as it is for being an atheist in Bangladesh or for being an ex-Muslim in a number of different places where
anywhere.
It could be anywhere where your life is at risk. And so I don't want to downplay this as if it's an easy thing. But I would say the real question you got to ask isn't how do I give up belief in a God, but how do I give up acting as if I still believe? Yeah. And that's going to, part of that is going to be in you building a network of people around you that are supportive and helpful and aren't tied to your old religion.
I think that was perfectly put.
Yeah, sorry, Matt, I just wanted to stress on one point. Actually, AP, you said something which was very interesting. You said that it took you a while till you realized that there is no God. But the thing is, we don't know if there is a fucking God or not. Excuse my language. We don't know this.
You're excused.
Reality doesn't prove or disprove these kind of things. No one can prove it. And as you said, Matt,
I agree.
Whoever proves that there is a God will win a Nobel Prize the next day. And it's not possible. Everyone comes up with these bullshit arguments, and it's just not possible. So what if we're wrong, and what if, Matt, you are wrong, and there is a megalomaniacal God who is selfish, who is a narcissistic, racist, slave who supports slavery? What if this is the reality? What if it's just that's it? Life is a bitch, and that's how it is.
But do you have any reason to believe that that is actually true? Because I get atheists deal with their atheism differently. I deal with mine in such a sense that I just consider the whole God question nonsensical, because it's God is a non-cognitive term. It's not something that you can actually compare to something that exists in reality, and then based on that figure out whether that God exists or not. God is just a concept that people shape and explain according to their religions and their needs. If you want to believe that God exists, then you will simply rationalize and somehow bring that God into existence in your mind. What you have to figure out is you are told to believe in God by certain religions that come with certain teachings and doctrines. In the case of Islam, or in the case of Christianity, for example, you are told about a God who desires your absolute belief and submission, and if you don't believe in him, then you will go to the bad place and experience suffering. Of course, in Christianity that's a little bit vague. In Islam it's much more graphically, brutally described. But then you have to ask yourself, I asked myself that, do you really believe that this God who sends you a message and wants you to believe in him will judge you and torture you and do terrible things for you for eternity because you were not good enough or not smart enough to acknowledge his existence, although you tried so hard? Yeah. I simply fail to believe that that is true.
Yeah. AP, it's just like I think to myself, if I was God and I was all-powerful and all-knowing, as Islam teaches us, why the hell would I even create a universe and put humans on a planet to worship me for my ego.
Exactly. It's a very
Does
dumb
that
thing
make
to do,
sense?
right? It's a very dumb thing to
So
do.
I'm kind of like contradicting myself. Excuse me for that, but it's just, you know, I like to ask a lot of questions, and I'm a serious skeptic, but I'm a Muslim at the same time. So,
Well, it's very good to know that you are seeking and that you are, you know, struggling, and it's not good to know that you are struggling, but it's good to know that you are seeking and admitting that to yourself and all that. And I wish you all the best on your journey ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys, for taking my call.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. I
Best of
appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.
Of course,
Bye.
yeah. So that wasn't really a debate or discussion, which is what we get a lot of calls about. It was a little bit more of advice. And if you're the type of person that is struggling with your religion, I always like to recommend the Recovering from Religion website, which you can find at recoveringfromreligion.org. And if you are questioning and want to engage with theists and atheists of a variety of different views, there is the Atheist versus Theist debates group. Now, you can go there at tiny.cc/xpfandebates and engage in debates there. But you also have the opportunity to engage with people and say, hey, I'm struggling with this particular argument thing. It's more of an argument style platform than it is for help.